president at Vanderbilt, and he said, well, we're just not going to have an athletic department. So he got rid of the athletic director and put someone else over athletics because we're going to de-emphasize athletics. But then he goes to Ohio State. All of a sudden, hey, it's a big deal, which, he's going to try to throw weight around when he thinks he can. Then remember he had the big line about TCU and beating Sisters of the Poor, and they went out and won the Rose Bowl, and he looked stupid there. He's just this little dork that an egghead academia that likes to get into the sports discussion because he gets attention. But he's the nerdiest of nerds, and that's fine but stay in your lane. He gets involved in this stuff, and I guarantee you he will not be able to block a 12-team playoff because for the same reason A&M couldn't keep Texas and Oklahoma out of the SEC. There's just going to be too much money involved. But this is an opportunity for him to squawk and people to react to him. And then he'll go back to his, put his dunce cap on in the corner.
But it does speak to what that side of the table is thinking, that they are not happy with the SEC, the way they've handled their business, even though it's been perfectly legitimate, and it is the direction we were going regardless of that. We were heading in this super conference world 10 years ago. It's not like it started a month ago when Texas and Oklahoma decided, or it became news that they were coming to the SEC. We were already headed in this direction anyway. These talks about the 12-team playoff, we already knew in the background that this was the direction we were headed to, maybe 4 super conferences, perhaps 2 super conferences. So I don't know why all of a sudden they're putting their brakes down, and I think it's because they have no place to land. West Virginia is looking for a home. They're in a conference that is going nowhere. Their best bet now, after the Pac-12 yesterday saying, we're not going to expand, is to probably team up with the American Athletic Conference and try to make a conference that could potentially rival the Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't even know if they do that. But, it's funny. The reaction is, the SEC expanded, which I wish they had not done. But how many teams are in the ACC?
Is it 14?
So how many teams are going to be in the SEC?
16.
16. I mean, so, all this angst over 2 teams?
I think it's the 2 teams and what
I know who they are.
They bring that is it. Because the Big 12 without those 2 teams is basically the American Athletic Conference.
Was the Big 10 all, where were they so high and mighty when they were going to bring in Maryland and Rutgers? And the only reason they were getting Maryland from the ACC was because of the Washington, D.C., Baltimore television market.
Right.
And Rutgers, who wants Rutgers except that you can tap into the New York City television market? So it's a lot of hypocrisy. And, I get it that when you bring in Texas and Oklahoma, you're bringing in 2, really good teams, and that kills the Big 12.
So on the way in, I was listening to, I think it was Danny Cannell, who sometimes likes Texas A&M, sometimes doesn't. And he was talking about how in today's college football, it's not about your market, it's about your brand. So Pac-12 expanding, let's say they wanted a University of Houston, they don't care. It's not necessarily about the the Houston TV market. It's about who watches that brand, and that's why expanding to the Big 12 and the Pac-12 doesn't make a lot of sense for them because people aren't really watching, clamoring for University of Houston or Cincinnati or whoever's else out there.
Well, there's no doubt some truth to that. So I always laugh when they say, "Hey, you get Memphis, you get people in Memphis don't care about Memphis, Cincinnati. They're Ohio State fans." So that's something that you always laugh at. Houston, they're all Aggies and Texas fans for the most part. But the reason how come these big TV deals get, especially on the cable, is because that if you have a team in the footprint, what you charge the cable company like triples as opposed to if your team's not in the footprint. So like if you got Rutgers in the Big 10, then this Big 10 network that's just included on your cable bill in New York City on however many million it becomes, instead of 10 cents, becomes 50 cents.
Right.
So do the math.
Well, look, we know we're going in a certain direction, and it's going to happen. And people can put up in arms and maybe block it for a year or two, but the college football playoff expansion is happening because it makes too much sense. It makes too many dollars and cents for everybody involved in it. But I do understand the hesitation from the schools that are outside looking in. I get it. I totally get it. And I hope those schools land somewhere that they can be relevant. I don't want them outside looking in. I would like to see the schools that we've played against, the Oklahoma States of the world, the Baylors of the world, the TCUs of the world. I want a college football world where they are relevant, just losing to A&M.
Well, and that's all fine and good, but at the same time, you and I think everybody else who understands what's going on gets it that the Big 12 with their 10 teams is not a viable conference without Texas and Oklahoma. You go to their games. You go to Manhattan, and you have 45,000 people in the stands. You go to Kansas, you may have less than you have at a basketball game. And I'm not an apologist for Texas by any means, or Oklahoma, but should they just be expected to bear the load to carry that conference if they want to look elsewhere, whether it be the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten?
I'm totally fine with looking out for your best interest. A&M did it, and it worked out phenomenally for us, and the trajectory is on the up and up because of that move. And I still think, by the way, had A&M stayed in the Big 12, we wouldn't be where we are today. I still think we would have been a pretty good team, absolutely, for the last 10 years. I think we would have passed Texas.
I agree with all that. I think, you mean on the field, obviously.
On the field, yes.
Because they passed.
And in life, too.
I agree with all of that. Maybe Kyle Field isn't as big as it is now.
No. And maybe the legend of Johnny feels different.
Yeah, I think he would have been good no matter what the situation was.
But slaying the dragon that is Alabama,
right,
to me, raised his profile to a different level.
But imagine the numbers he would have put up playing a Big 12 schedule and all those Big 12 defenses.
They would have probably gone undefeated. Right?
I would.
Yeah.
Well, you saw what they did to the conference champion in the Cotton Bowl.
They destroyed them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so, hey, by the way, let's say hi to everybody. We got into some news to start off the show. Let's go into the Fish Bowl and say hello to Dalton Hughes. Good morning to you, Dalton.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. What's going on this weekend?
Nothing. In a good way.
Hey, I know you like to be a meteorologist on your part-time. When you're not here, you love
Sounds
to look
like
at
you've
weather.
been talking to Billy Liucci.
So what's happening this week? And I understand that I guess our area is going to miss this potential hurricane. Is that right?
I have no idea.
You've got to Google sometimes, buddy. Get on Google.
Like, I haven't looked at that.
Okay.
I'm in, like, football mode, but not there yet. So I got, like, the blinders on, right? There's nothing's coming in outside the blinders.
I'm looking at it on weather.com. And
see, I can count on OB.
It looks like the trajectory of this storm is going to go right into Louisiana, and it's just showing a couple of scattered storms approaching Texas. But how they do the model?
Yeah.
It's all over Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee.
So does that mean we're on the dirty side or not? I don't
no,
even
it
know.
looks like we're on the clean side.
Clean side. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And so last night I was at Veterans Park running around, and all of a sudden a storm came. Like, it was like perfectly fine, and then a huge downpour of rain came and caught us off guard. Even though we heard it coming, like, oh, look at the rain. Boom, got us. It changed rather quickly. We'll go to the News and Social Center. Tomas Romo in the house. Hey, Tomas.
How you doing this morning, David?
I'm all right. What's going on? You're looking dressed up nice. You're ready to roll.
It's Friday. I feel like I had to, dress up a little bit. I feel like a nice day, special day, especially, hearing Kirk Herbstreit this morning saying that he's most excited to see A&M play Alabama. So that got me fired up this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I say to that, Herbie? I like Herbie. I know he upsets some people, but I think he's a very good broadcaster. That being said, everybody in the world is expecting that game. Thanks for the obvious, Herbs. Appreciate you. What else you got for us?
Bjorn Thompson was named to the women's tennis staff. He's a two-time All-American. He'll bring a lot of energy and experience to head coach Mark Weaver's coaching staff. And David, I don't know if you had the opportunity to see our women's tennis team play, but man, they are good.
Yeah, I have not seen them play. Obviously, I was following what they did as I was moving here during the end of the spring and early parts of the summer. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. What else do you have?
From all the way in Hawaii, Texas A&M's women's volleyball team will be taking on Marquette. This is the first time the two teams have matched up since 2003. And the last time that happened, A&M beat them in 3 straight sets.
Good stuff there, Tomas. I appreciate you. So here's the storyline for the day. OB, you and I will get into it about 8:35, but I'll throw out the topic today. What is the best SEC road trip? Now, I haven't been on these road trips. This is going to be all new to me. I'm going to experience these next 2 to 3 years, try to visit every campus, obviously, and it's going to be great. We'll see how conference realignment changes who we play and whatnot, but I think the plan is you want to see more campuses quicker than in years past, at least if you believe what Sankey said the other day on the Paul Feinbaum show. But what's the best one out there? I've been to Baton Rouge. I think that is a awesome college football atmosphere. I don't know if it's one of my favorite road trips. I haven't been anywhere else. I haven't been to Gainesville on a weekend where they're playing. I have not been, obviously, to Athens. I just haven't. So I want to hear from you people out there, and I mean that with a lot of love. What is the best SEC road trip? You can do that on the AMB text line 979-693-1150 or the BCSI Associates hotline, thanks to Dr. K, 979-693-1150. When we come back, 21 and 21, presented by Factory Builder Stores.
This is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Big Deals.
Hi, it's Jenny from Big Deals, and I've got a big announcement to make. Big Deals now has an app that lets you shop, buy, and redeem your mobile certificates. It's so easy. Just go to your app store and type in Big Deals Media. That's Big Deals Media. Now more than ever, it's so easy to shop Big Deals from your phone.
Discounted gift certificates to your favorite Aggie Land businesses. Download the Big Deals Media app now.
Hello, St. Joseph Eagles fans. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football throughout the season on KEDC 88.5 FM. St. Joseph Eagles football is brought to you this season by these local businesses: Jason Bainski Realtor, Lone Star Roof Systems, Law Office of Jeff Paradowski, Kraus Paint and Body, Wings and More, Blinn College, and Serve Pro of the Brazos Valley. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football on KEDC 88.5 FM. Special thanks to all of our St. Joseph Eagle football sponsors.
The Bellucci Hour is back. It is back at the tap every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs, TexAgs.com, TexAgs Radio, and the Liucci Cast, along with Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, and Sports Director Brian Broadcasting. Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m. It's the Bellucci Hour, happy hour, and it's all thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Let the Bellucci Hour get you ready for Aggie Football 2021.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swartman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fund Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country. And Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fund Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV. Or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fund Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone.
We call it TexAgs Radio. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio having a good old time. Game week is a couple days away. Cannot wait to get started for that. The Aggies haven't practiced this weekend, close to the media, so we won't be able to get to see them. But I expect that we will talk to them on Monday, OB.
We always have. I mean, since Jimbo's been here, that Monday's been the day, so I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, but we're not sure, if I remember correctly, if we'll get to see them practice anymore, right? Like, that's still TBD.
I think that's done.
That is done.
Yeah, because I just got an email from SIDs yesterday.
Okay.
Saying that, there's no
media availability this weekend, and during the season, they don't really open it up.
No.
Okay. So it is now time for 21 in 21, presented by Factory Builder Stores, celebrating over 30 years as the largest contract distributor in Texas. Factory Builder Stores can service builders and general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station on Old Welborn Road and Rock Prairie, just on the west side of the railroad tracks. Go see my friends, Jason and John. They're going to take very good care of you and all of your appliance needs. They sell it all out there. And number one, and again, you could have made an argument that yesterday's could have been number one, but it's Kenyon Green, the offensive left tackle.
We think left tackle.
Well, yeah, he might be on the right.
He might be on the right. I know this. Wherever they put him, he's going to be dominant. I think the understanding is they tried him in the right side because some of the other guys are better on the left. So it's Kenyon's so good to say, well, where do we need him most?
You could put Johnson on the left because he's more comfortable on the left if he ends up being there. Ruben Fatheree
or whoever.
Yeah.
But Kenyon Green, I think, is one of those guys that he has All-American credentials. He's dominant, and I think somehow he's still a little bit underrated and underappreciated. But watch the game against Florida and just focus on Kenyon Green. And that game in particular, I saw him, I don't know who number 7 was for Florida, but I saw him on one run. He pushes this guy like 15 yards back. I mean, he locks on him and just pushes him back, and Isaiah has a long run and from where running behind Kenyon. But he just pushes the guy 10 to 15 yards back and then, really reacts because he knew he just, bullied the guy. But he does stuff like that on a weekly basis. Now, is he perfect? No, he got off the ball late and got a big holding penalty against Mississippi State that nullified a big play. That's going to happen. He's not perfect, but the bad plays are going to come maybe once every 50 plays. I mean, the guy is he's as close to being a perfect football player as you're going to find at his position, whatever that may be, because he's so strong, he's so athletic, and he's just so good that he's going to be a first-round pick. I can't imagine he's not something, but I mean, he's a legitimate All-American guy, and it's so hard for offensive linemen sometimes to distinguish themselves because you just get lost in people are going to follow the ball. And so much is going on in the line. There's so much trash there, and yet he still finds a way to stand out.
You know what I like? That we live in a world where there's an argument for who the number one player on Texas A&M
is. Absolutely.
Right? Like, and there was an argument during the Johnny days. You could have said Mike. You could have said Johnny. I think Johnny, obviously, to me, was the engine that made everything go. But this is a great position to be because you're talking about defensive line, offensive line. That's the big argument, right? Between DeMarvin and Ken. And you could throw Isaiah and Anais into being impactful in that same conversation as well.
Well, when I made my list for our top 21, it came down to me, fair or not. And it's probably not fair, but one's an All-American and one's not. So that was my dividing line because those two guys are both dominant players at their position. And quite frankly, at the very least, DeMarvin should have been all SEC. And we're talking about the very least. We've talked about that. We talked about that yesterday. But, Kenyon is as dominant at his position as DeMarvin is at his. I mean, there's no doubt. And I think it's one, we always hear the SEC is a line of scrimmage league.
Right.
So I think it's very fortunate that the players that you're talking about that should be maybe the first number one or not
1A, 1B
is a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman because you have to be strong on the line at the line of scrimmage to win in the SEC.
You know, I like to do this game while we're doing this, and I think we discussed maybe having another 21-21 at the end of the season just to see where everybody ended up. So at the end of the season, these guys are obviously, in my opinion, still going to be in these same spots, maybe 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be. But you throw those guys in, plus if the season happens the way we think it could, where Haynes ends up on that top 10 list.
Well, yeah, that is going to be interesting because, you know, you mentioned Johnny Manziel. He wouldn't have been on the list. We used to do 30 for 30. He might have shown up around 25 to 30
right.
maybe. But I remember writing a column from SEC Media Days that year about it being the quarterback race going to be interesting, and I got all kinds of blowback saying it's I can't always forget the guy's name. Showers. It's Jamil Showers. What are you talking about? And then it turned out that Johnny was the best player on the team. I don't know that Haynes King is going to emerge as the best player on the team.
Maybe not this year.
But I tell you what, you know, the other two best players that year might have been Luke Jokel and DeMontre Moore.
Right.
So,
because it wasn't until 2013 that Mike Evans became, I mean, he was Mike Evans in 2012, but 2013 is when he emerged as the guy.
Yeah, he was really good in 12.
But Swope was more his target, if I remember correctly.
I think Swope was the more dominant receiver, and then third. And you know, Mike did have some tendencies to disappear as a inexperienced receiver might do. But yeah, he was more on 2013 was obviously a bigger year because you remember the Auburn game and the Alabama game. You know, so maybe Haynes King will be that kind of player. I'm sure he'll be among the list. I have a lot of confidence in him. But even if he has a tremendous year, unless it's Manziel-esque, he's going to have a really difficult time ever being ranked ahead of DeMarvin Leal and Kenyon Green.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing on Kenyon Green, too. Last year, one of the best offensive lines in all of football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of that line is gone. If they keep in that same stratosphere, and again, talent for talent, this might be a more talented group of offensive linemen when it's all said and done, but they haven't proven anything yet. Talent for talent. But if they continue to be a top 10 offensive line, who is the constant? It's Kenyon Green.
Kenyon Green, and you know, he has that experience, not necessarily obviously at the position he's going to play, even though he did play tackle his whole life through high school, but just being able to be that guy who's telling his other guys what to do. And I do think they're going to be very good in the offensive line. The only pause I have is I guess it's now possible that you can see 2 freshman starters.
I'm okay with that, especially early on. Get some of that experience under your belt.
Well, I'll say it's different than it has been in the past. It ain't like it used to be when they put a freshman out there. Now, Kenyon Green was good from the moment, but sometimes you put a freshman out there and they're just not physically ready. Well, the 2 guys they're talking about
they're physically ready.
Are definitely fit. How much more physically ready do you want to get Bryce Foster?
I've made this joke on the air a couple times, and I don't even really mean it as a joke, but he really does. If you look at him from far away, it looks like a guy on those old ESPN classic shows of like moving tow trucks and like the world's strongest man. He looks like one of those guys, just a huge house and just can move people. It's got according to Jimbo, the football acumen and fathery. I got to see him a lot in Houston. Just another guy. And again, and if they don't, it just shows you the depth that they have at the offensive line. If Luke Matthews is good to go, let's go with Luke, right? Like if he's healthy and great at his job, go with Luke. But you have the depth now, which is so exciting.
They definitely have options in the offensive line. I think typically you don't want to see multiple freshmen in the offensive line, but maybe these are atypical guys. But having a Kenyon Green as your steadying force with those guys, I don't think that. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's you know, you love the fact that you have a guy that talented, but I don't think you can understate how important it is to have a guy that's also that talented and that experienced that can, you know, provide some leadership for the guys that he plays with on the line.
All right, so when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, we're going to talk a little bit about SEC road trips. OB is going to get – he's kind of told me throughout the last couple of months of like, okay, we need to go to this city, and this is great, and we'll stay here. You've got it all mapped out. You've done it before. You're an old veteran when it comes to SEC road trips. We'll talk about that. If you want to help me out in that conversation, you can on the BCSI Associates hotline, 979-693-1150, and the AMB text line at that same number, 979-693-1150. Right now, though, I want to talk about Milliken Reserve. Love that community. Got to spend some time out there recently. It's just a farm-to-table community in College Station. It's got homes, trails, farms, wide open spaces, and their mission is to build a healthy community around Nacre. We're talking about 2,600 acres of open space, farms, 30 miles of trails and homes. They connect families to nature and to each other. And it's just a great environment. My wife went recently, did a yoga class out there right by the lake, just had a wonderful time. We're getting vegetables from them, too. The farmers are getting our veggies every week. We're going to go pick it up. It's really nice. And how you can be a part of it, become a member of the Conservancy, go check them out. As a member, you'll be helping to ensure that native landscape and wildlife is preserved for a very long time. And check out their annual Pumpkin Palooza, October 16th and 17th. Learn more at millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. United Way of the Brazos Valley and Texas A&M School of Public Health have an opportunity to receive a grant to administer a new program where low-income residents can get to and from medical appointments with the assistance of volunteer drivers. Vote each day this week for their project to receive a $25,000 grant. Click the link at uwbv.org. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will be on sale this Saturday at the Clara B. Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and to the general public at 10 a.m. Loss of a Spouse is a free seminar this Sunday from 4 to 6 at Peace Lutheran Church. Email Rhonda at peacelutheranbcs.org for more information. Catch Cedric Golden of the Austin American-Statesman Tuesdays at 12:05 on the Louis Bellina Show to talk Longhorns, Big 12, and so much more. The gang is back together lunchtime, weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
We think it's time for a laugh. Bryan Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Longway Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at bryanbroadcasting.com.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anias, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network. Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
It is TexAgs Radio with the YouTube Jams presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. No, David Gardner's Jewelers is not presenting the Jams, but the show has definitely done that here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. The difference is real. Rollo Insurance, an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you. Thank you very much, guys. I just met with Jackson Rollo the other day, and goodness gracious, he's saving me some money. I was like, all right, you really think you can save me money? He's saving me a lot of money. So thank you to Jackson and the crew over there at Rollo Insurance. Headquarters right here in College Station on Highway 6, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. OB, you're a veteran of the traveling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you NFL travel, the places I like going. You can tell me college football. We got the SEC. This year we got certain trips that we're going to get to go on, but I don't want to limit it to this year because I'm actually really looking forward to Denver, the Colorado trip. I'd like to go to Boulder one day, but I'm looking forward to this Denver trip. But if you look at the entire SEC, what are some of the best roadies out there and why?
Well, okay, because there's a lot of different factors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the atmosphere like at the game? If the team's good, what if the team's bad? So I'd say all things being equal, all right? If all things were equal with the team in Tennessee.
Tennessee's the best.
I've always, if all things are equal.
What about Tennessee?
Okay, first of all, Knoxville's a big enough city that you can you have a decent chance to stay either in the city or close enough where you don't have to have
drive
a 2 hour drive.
Right.
Even though if you stay in Gatlinburg, you're going to really enjoy that. You can stay there, which is an amazing little town.
Right.
Pretty scenery. It's really cool watching the Vol Navy come down the Tennessee River, all the boats with their Tennessee flags. The in-game atmosphere is great. You know, they come out running through the tees, the checkerboard end zones, 100,000 plus fans when they're good, singing Rocky Top. And you know what? They're, for an SEC crowd, they're reasonably
polite.
Yep. Reasonably. They're not Aggies, but they're reasonably polite. So, I think if there's good food up there. Don't go to the place on the river that's so famous for Calhoun's.
Right.
Don't go there. It's like one of those places that you hear about how good it is, and it's not. But there's a lot of places downtown Knoxville that's a pretty cool area. So a lot of Knoxville is a whole, but there's places downtown that's actually really nice. So you can have a really good trip to Knoxville. Now, I'd say Athens is probably the coolest college town maybe in the country.
What about it?
Well, just the main street with all the clubs, and you've had like REM started there. You have a lot of music. It's really pretty. The stadium's cool. The atmosphere's great. Hard to get a place in Athens. You're probably going to.
You're staying in Atlanta.
You're probably going to stay in Atlanta or somewhere out that way. But that's great. I don't know if they have as much quote pageantry as they have at Tennessee, but it's great. Auburn's great. Auburn's the closest to being with as A&M as you're going to find.
You told me that once before.
Yeah.
Just classy, nice people.
Nice people. There's the Toomer's Corner area. It's kind of like a version of Northgate, kinda. Now A&M doesn't have an eagle flying around, right? So you don't have, but that's a pretty cool thing to watch. But yeah, they're a fan base I think is very close to A&M. So I think now my favorite town to go to is Charleston. If you're going to South Carolina and you don't mind, but you got to drive 2 hours to Columbia. But if you can stay in Charleston, that I would highly recommend if you don't mind making the drive. And then the stadium is off campus, so that's kind of that deducts points.
Sure.
But man, if you're staying in Charleston, that's pretty awesome.
I remember I used to go to University of Miami football games a lot when I'd go to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest brother went to Miami. Alex, the middle brother who grew up in. I had an older brother who grew up in Miami, but Alex grew up in Texas. Obviously, he was always going to go to A&M. But we used to go to Miami games. And that stadium, Joe Robbie back in the day, what it was called, and it was a commute. Like you weren't on campus at all. Like the University of Miami, very pretty in Coral Gables. You have to go across town to get there. I do deduct points when your stadium is off campus for sure.
Yeah, it's just not the same experience, right?
No.
college football is meant to be played on campus if possible. And I think that's, I agree with that. And that's why South Carolina is almost like Baylor used to be, when they had Floyd Casey Stadium. And so, it wasn't a long way off.
No, it was close, but it was not there.
Campus,
you couldn't walk to it. You couldn't see the college atmosphere there. Just like a road, you have to get there.
And now their fans are very into their team. All right. I mean, they've got great fan support, especially for a team that's typically not very good. But there is kind of a redneck quality about them that, that kind of rubs you the wrong way.
Sure.
Good food up there, though.
Yeah. All right. So what is the worst atmosphere? Is because I think there's a charm to Baton Rouge, right? But it also can be a little intimidating if you don't know what you're getting into.
I'm still going to say Mississippi State.
That's the worst environment?
To me, first of all, they got nice folks at Mississippi State. I mean, they really do. But those godforsaken cowbells, incessantly ringing. The stadium's not that great. I'm sure they're going to try to upgrade it if they haven't already. Last time I was there, the elevator broke. And you go, you're not going to stay in Starkville. There's like 2 hotels in Starkville.
Right.
So you're not going to stay there. You're probably, if you're lucky, going to be in Columbia, which is about 45 minutes away. And that's not even a big city. Getting there is kind of a problem. And there's the Little Dewey restaurant and there's a burger place, but there's not a lot of places to go eat before and after the game. I'd say Starkville that leaves me very underwhelmed.
What is the perception of College Station and A&M around the SEC as a destination?
Everybody loves it. Everybody who's been here loves it. They talk about, in fact, I was on a radio show yesterday and they were talking about it. They're talking about how nice everybody is, how amazing they are with the, with the facilities and how nice the facilities are. People offering them, beer and tailgate, hey,
right.
What's up? So everyone tells me that it's one of their favorite stops because of they love the pageantry. They love to watch the band and all the things that come with an A&M game and the sawing of the horns and the kissing of the date and the students standing. They just love the game day atmosphere, and you're with a lot of friendly people, and the tailgates now is a pretty big deal at A&M, and it's close to the stadium, and the stadium's beautiful. Now, the commute and the parking can be a problem, but that's
everywhere,
That's everywhere,
yeah.
just about. And the place I think Alabama's a pretty good road trip. I think the place I think is the most overrated is Ole Miss.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think the Grove is a big deal.
But that's for like college kids. If 18 to 22
they got
is a
older
good environment.
people. Yeah, but it's for being all packed together and watching people get drunk.
Right.
And then, they're kind of like it's kind of like Texas fans, just drunk Texas fans. And now the food on the square, there's a lot of good restaurants. So if food's important to you, that's a plus. But you're probably not going to stay in Oxford. We've stayed in Olive Branch and Memphis. So, expect a good drive.
How long is that drive from? Because I think we're doing Memphis this year.
Memphis is about
2 hours?
No, it's not that far. I think it's an hour and change, but not a lot.
Yeah.
But so that plays into it. And we were there one year where the bathrooms were not operational.
Pardon?
In the stadium.
So the whole entire stadium bathroom weren't working?
Well, the ones in the press box
Okay.
weren't. I don't know if it was. So they've had their issues. The stadium itself is kind of nice. I think Ross did a good job of updating some features there. But I do think that's overrated. The Grove this, the Grove that. I can go down to 6th Street and look at drunk people.
Right.
I can drive an hour and a half west if I want to see drunk people throwing up on themselves. I don't have to go to Ole Miss. So I think the Grove is just, now, a lot of pretty girls, you're going to be there, and the first pretty girl you see, you're going to think, that's one of the prettiest girls I ever saw. And then the second girl's prettier than her. A lot of pretty girls at Ole Miss. But so if that plays into your experience, there you go. But for me, I think the Grove is way overrated. And,
how's Gainesville?
Gainesville, it's okay.
It's college town, right?
It's hard to get there.
Yeah.
It's college town. It's hard to get there. You typically are going to have to stay maybe as far away as Jacksonville.
How long is that? Like an hour and a half?
2.5, 2 hours, 2 hours. I've stayed in Tampa before and driven in.
Right.
But I mean, their fans are pretty nasty. They're
really,
yeah, they're kind of like LSU.
Okay.
They're like LSU without the accent. And the stadium's pretty cool though. But there's nothing about Florida, University of Florida, that I think is special going there. The Chomp is kind of that, but there's not a whole lot of pageantry. Mr. Two Bits died, so he's not out there anymore. I mean, it's nice. It's okay.
The coolest Florida tradition at this point is probably the newest one, the Tom Petty with the phone lines.
You're right. I do like that. That is pretty cool. When they at the beginning of the fourth quarter, at the end of the third quarter, A&M saws the horns. Well, they play "I Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty, and people turn on their phone lights. So that's a pretty cool deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think overall, Gainesville's okay, but it's not anything special to me.
Yeah, well, we'll continue this. We got to get to your text messages and also your phone calls on the topic on the A&B text line and the here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. You can also call the BCSI Associates hotline 979-693-1150. When we do come back, we got to do bank on it though. But right now, a moment for our friends at the Association of Former Students. Catherine Greenway going to stop by studio next week. We're looking forward to talking to her. All the changes happening over there. Cannot wait to see how that all unfolds out there. It's going to be an awesome game day atmosphere. There's no doubt about that. Did you know the association is the oldest organization serving the A&M network, the Aggie network that it is? Yeah, they've been doing it for over 140 years, and you can be a part of it, and you can help by not spending that much money, guys. I'm talking a little under $10 a month. You're talking $9 a month. You get the decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're helping all the ways that the association helps, from student organizations to a Ross Volunteer Company to support the MSC, Midnight Yale Security, study abroad scholarships, all that. And it's not hard to do or expensive. Just do it. Sign up. Even if you've fallen off, come right back. They love you. They'll give you a big hug without a doubt. To learn more about the impact of the association or get involved, make a gift, visit AggieNetwork.com/giving.
This is Aggieland's only all-sports station.
Let's play, fellas!
The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
I don't feel good.
Chris, are you all right? Chris? Chris! Someone call 911!
No! Dude, we can't call the cops. We're under 21.
Underage drinking is against the law, but the 911 Lifeline law states a person under 21 calling for help will not be cited for possessing or consuming alcohol. For more information, contact the CASAP or PRC at 1-866-448-1699.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
Hello, St. Joseph Eagles fans. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football throughout the season on KEDC 88.5 FM. St. Joseph Eagles football is brought to you this season by these local businesses: Jason Bainski Realtor, Lone Star Roof Systems, Law Office of Jeff Paradowski, Kraus Paint and Body, Wings and More, Blinn College, and Serve Pro of the Brazos Valley. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football on KEDC 88.5 FM. Special thanks to all of our St. Joseph Eagle football sponsors.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
I can do this.
We believe in you.
Each day brings hope.
Every day, millions of people celebrate their recovery from addiction and mental illness while others begin their journey. Be a part of it. Share your strength, support, and hope. Join the Voices for Recovery. Together, we are stronger. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey y'all, this is Marty Smith.
And I'm Ryan McGee. And we are
Marty and McGee. Check us out every Saturday morning on ESPN Radio and the SEC Network.
Of course, we'll be all over the biggest news in the world of sports.
And plenty of that Marty McGee type stuff.
Like the Hillbilly Headlines.
And some of the craziest callers you've ever heard in your life.
It might be the only reason to wake up that early on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, for sure. It's Marty and McGee. Join us Saturday mornings on Aggie Land's Home for Sports.
The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
What it is, it's TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is now time for Bank On It, presented by Vera Bank. Thank you, Vera Bank. Authentic relationship-based bank. Banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. You can learn more at verabank.com. All right, here we go, OB. What is something we can bank on? Please don't take mine.
Well, you can bank on this, that I'm going to be watching some college football this weekend, tomorrow.
Which game? The Nebraska? Is it Nebraska?
The Nebraska, Illinois. The other game I'm really interested in is Hawaii at UCLA. Because UCLA has just been such a disappointment under Chip Kelly.
Yeah, they get LSU week 2, right?
They do.
Yeah.
And Hawaii's just, you never know what Hawaii's going to be. They can be that rock in your shoe. You know, they're not ever going to be great, but they can always be pretty good, that if you're not a, really good FBS team, that they can, I guess Hawaii's an FBS Power 5 team, that if you don't take them seriously, they come up, jump up and beat you. And I think, we could see that happen. And if Hawaii wins, go ahead and put Chip Kelly on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He probably already is, but, at first you get a certain grace period. And they showed a little bit of improvement last year, but if they open the season 0-2.
Which is very possible.
Then they have to put him on the hot seat, I would think.
You know who I'm going to bank on this. Louisiana's going to beat Texas in week 1. There's a chance that Texas, I forget when they get Arkansas, week 2 or 3.
Week 2.
Week 2. There's a chance Texas is 0-2, but you can bank on them losing to Louisiana. And the reason is, I think the Raging Cajuns, and look, I'm hoping more than banking on it, but they beat Iowa State last year. Mm-hmm. I think they're a very good team. I think they can run the ball. Their offense puts up nice numbers. I think Sark's going to start his season or his tenure there at Texas with a loss.
That would be interesting, because if that was to happen, especially if they start 0-2,
God, I would laugh.
Then you're starting to look at, at a 7-5, maybe a 6-6, and if that happens,
you know what though? The SEC can sell them to the American Athletic Conference or the Mountain West, whoever wants them, because obviously if they start off 0-2, they're not ready for the big boy leagues.
Well, I know this: if they go 7-5, they'll be talking about, we should have been in the playoff.
Well, of course they will.
We're Texas.
No, look, I will be very honest. I think Sark yesterday said he hasn't named the starter yet. I know their running game is fantastic. Their defense is probably going to be better than it was last year. I believe that matchup is a very tough one to start your season with against a team that you should beat. But because Louisiana's under the radar for a lot of people. Iowa State was an excellent team last year, and they beat them.
They may have the better coach in the matchup, Louisiana. And quite frankly, Texas was okay last year. They weren't a great team by any means. And you take Sam Ehlinger off that team and Osai and I can't remember Samuel Osme or whatever's offense. They lost some of their better players off that team. So are they going to be better? I wouldn't think so.
We'll see what coaching will do for them. Let's go to the News and Social Center. Tomas Romo in the house. Tomas, what up?
How's it going, David? I got a couple text messages that came in. Cameron from Round Rock said South Carolina was an incredible trip, fun downtown area, and great barbecue. It's an electric environment, and the South Carolina fans were pretty friendly.
Well, and that's the one you told us we would stay in Charleston probably when we go. We could. Potentially. I've been to Charleston. So.
It's awesome. I've seen Charlotte, and that's nice too. And it's been hard for us to find a room in Columbia.
So can I name drop?
Name drop.
I went to Charleston to interview the main guy from Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker, yeah.
Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Yeah, big Gamecocks fan.
Yeah, he is awesome. And we actually, 20% of our dialogue, actually 50% of our dialogue outside of the interview, he was performing for the 4th of July in Houston a couple years back, so they flew me out there to interview him. We talked about Batman. He loves superheroes, and I know you're a big superhero guy, OB, so...
Anyway, I'm actually a fan of Darius Rucker. I love him as a country singer.
Yeah, very nice guy. He follows me on Twitter. One of the few guys that follow me on Twitter. All right, OB, thank you so much, brother.
That's a good name drop.
That's what I do. Every once in a while, Nuño with his old stories. Here we go again. Here we go in the 9 o'clock hour. Dan Matthews, Southern Sports Today. We'll kick things off there. Student Bonfire Talk here at 9:35. Liucci in studio at 10:05. We're going to keep it going, and we'll do 21 and 21 with Liucci as well as the number one guy is Kenyon Green. All that and more on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You're listening to Aggieland, only all sports station. The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Every year, 4.5 million young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 visit the ER.
It's every parent's nightmare.
Umergency gives you all the tools you need to quickly and effectively manage your family's emergency. Umergency provides instant access to vital resources, customized to your student's campus and local community, digital consent form, and built-in urgent alert button. Umergency gives you peace of mind when you need it most. Download your Umergency app now.
Get connected and be in the know with the Zone. Follow us on Twitter at Zone1150. Like us on Facebook, Zone1150. Subscribe to our daily newsletter at thezone1150.com. This is KCNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. College Station City Council approved at last night's meeting the implementation of remote pay parking through the Park Mobile app. An original proposal a couple months ago suggested implementation in 3 neighborhoods, but only the Northgate district was approved. In their motion, Council decided to delay implementation to the neighborhoods to experiment with how it will work first. City Manager Brian Woods noted that nothing will change as far as the pay rates for parking in the Northgate district, just the system with which to pay. The Texas A&M System Board of Regents are in town for 3 days this week. The board spent the first day and a half hearing budget and capital project requests from 20 system executives. Among the presenters was the new president of the flagship campus, Catherine Banks. Among her requests was increasing the annual amount going towards deferred maintenance from $22 million to $30 million.
To ensure that we don't see a rapid increase in the dollars that are required for these type of operations. We need to ensure that our facilities on campus are top-notch, or we're not going to provide a high-quality education or recruit faculty members to conduct amazing research.
Dr. Banks said this fall's projected enrollment on the main campus is just over 1% compared to last fall. Researchers at Texas A&M have created a drug that they hope will be an effective treatment for people with COVID-19.
They developed a drug compound called MPI-8, which targets an essential enzyme. In lab tests, they say it has stopped the replication of COVID-19 and its aggressive variants. The team is now partnered with California-based company Sorrento Therapeutics. They hope to start clinical trials on humans early next year and have the new drug available by next summer. Chelsea Wade, TSN News.
More help is coming to hospitals and nursing homes as the pandemic surge continues. Governor Abbott announced the Texas Department of State Health Services is deploying 2,500 more medical staff to support healthcare facilities around the state. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high-interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M University and sports merchandiser Fanatics have announced an exclusive 10-year partnership. The deal coincides with the launch of A&M's 12manshop.com. Now, in addition to Texas A&M, Fanatics also holds similar partnerships with professional partners as well as college partners, including the University of Notre Dame, University of Florida, and University of Oklahoma. Aggie Volleyball opens up its regular season tonight in Hawaii. Coach Bird Kuhn and the ladies are looking to improve on a 9-9 COVID-shortened schedule this last year. They square off against Marquette this evening at 9:45 in the Hawaiian Airlines Rainbow Wahine Classic in Honolulu. A&M women's tennis has named former Aggie men's standout Bjorn Thompson as a volunteer assistant coach. Now, prior to joining the Aggie women's staff, Thompson competed in doubles for the guys. Along with partner Juan Carlos Aguilar, the Birmingham, England native finished with a 13-10 overall record in doubles play and recorded 8 straight victories against nationally ranked opponents. Now, for his success, Thompson was named an ITA All-American in doubles this past year. He cemented an additional 8 victories in singles action. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swartman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
All right, so what we need to do, somebody suggested this, good English by me. Someone suggested to us recently that we have some local Aggie music artists give us some music that we can use on the show, because when we do YouTube, the music is so bad that people are mad at me, and it's 100% Dalton picking the music. I mean, in fact, it's blame it on Dalton. That's what we do here at TexAgs, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Just blame it on Dalton. In fact, that's going to be a new segment. We're gonna get a sponsor behind it. Blame it on Dalton. I used to blame it on Dan Matthews all the time in Houston. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the BCSI Associates hotline, and we are joined by Dan Matthews, Southern Sports Today, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Obviously, he covers all things SEC, and he's joining us here on the show. Man, we used to really pick on you like we do Dalton back in the day. What's up, Dan?
Everything's good, man. I mean, that's what we're for behind the scenes. You know, we're the offensive line. We're the middle relief pitchers. So if we give up the lead, of course, we're bums, you know, that we're supposed to come in there and do the Herculean task. And then when we fail, it's, well, that's what we expected from you. So I feel Dalton, man. He's a good man.
Dalton's great, man. So let's talk a little SEC ball with you. We'll start things off with our Aggies. I believe I've read from you. You're pretty high on what you think they can do this year. Just break down your assessment of where the Aggies are and their trajectory here in 2021.
Well, let's start first with that running back room. I mean, I think the funny thing is most people seem to talk about Aniyah Smith because it's kind of a Kadarius Toney role is what it seems like people look at Jimbo Fisher to kind of fill out for him this year. And then Devin Achane as well is somebody else that seems to get a lot of run. I know that you guys are high on Isaiah Spiller, but it seems like out of all the names, he's the one that's left behind. And it's funny, David, because that's a 1,000-yard rusher in a shortened season. So he put up a great season, and he's not mentioned as much as everybody else. Then you look at Jalen Weidemeyer. I think if Jimbo Fisher could draw up a perfect offense, this is what it would look like with a stacked running back room like he has, standout tight end play. And now the question is going to be, what do we get out of Haynes King on the field? I think that Haynes King won the job because of his dual threat ability. And I think that that's something else that Jimbo looks at and says, that's how you win now in this game is you win with standout quarterback play. And the stand back in the pocket, you know, statuesque guys, it just doesn't happen anymore. And not to say that Zach Calzada is that guy, but I just think that Haynes King offers a little bit more for this offense. So you factor that all in, along with a defense that is going to be pretty strong as well. I'm a big Mike Elko believer. So things stack up pretty well for this team.
Yeah, we're excited about it. So when we talk about the path to the national championship, obviously it all goes through Alabama. October 9th, going to be right here. Are you one of those that thinks this is the year that Jimbo gets past Saban?
I would say that probably of all the coaches that have the best chance, at least the former assistants, I'd say it's him. And I know that, you know, it's funny. I was watching the Feinbaum show yesterday, and I saw that somebody had posted the tweet of Jimbo's line about somebody's going to get him or whatever he said. I believe it was at the Dallas Aggie Club. And then, of course, Saban with the in golf. And people were like, uh-oh, once you upset Saban, look, you know, it comes down to how good are the teams, how good are the players. That's what it really comes down to on the field. So someone is going to finally beat Nick Saban of his former assistants. He's even said so himself. So I think of all of the teams that are on the schedule this year that are going against him, I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to be Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship game. We think it is, but don't know if that's going to be the case. And it's also, too, Georgia's had some injuries, too, at this point as well. So I think for all the reasons that I just pointed out, I mean, you factor it all in. CBS is betting on this game this year. They've decided to go ahead and break the chain of LSU, Alabama for the night game, for their one night game a year. They're coming to Kyle Field, and they're coming to see this game and see if indeed Jimbo can finally be the first assistant to break through.
Our good friend Peter Burns from the SEC Network, I believe yesterday was that he tweeted he expects to see, or I forget, it's going to be a great SEC championship game between A&M and Georgia. You think that's going to happen?
I mean, there's no reason to believe it can't. I mean, this team is built. I mean, finally, what A&M has been yearning for. The first couple of years they got in the league when they had Jake Matthews and they had a pretty good offensive line. It was a good plus for them to be able to start out, and of course, Johnny Football. But then after that, I think that line play had struggled for this team. And that's something that Jimbo Fisher, much like I brought up Kirby Smart, I remember when Kirby took over the job in 2015, 2016, he said, we have got to get better up front or we're not going to compete in this league. And Jimbo Fisher, I think when he got there late 2017, said, yeah, it's got to improve up front. They've done that in the last few years with recruiting. So there's no reason, David, to believe that they can't do it. I mean, they finally do have the players. They've got, and notice I said players, not just the starters, because that's how you win in this league as well. You don't win with just your starting 11 on each side of the ball. You got to have a handful of guys on the sidelines too that can come in and spell some players and be able to provide that depth. And then also too, the attrition of a season, people get injured and you got to count on those guys. So A&M's finally got those players. The key is going to be Haynes King. I mean, who do you get? Do you get a guy that can come in and be responsible with the football and can also make some huge plays for you? Or do you get a guy that the moment is too big for him and it seems to not work out so well for him? I heard, speaking of, one of your guys, Billy Liucci, talking about yesterday, I think I heard him right, that last year during bowl practice, he was parked outside the facility watching and charting plays. So that's something right there, I'm sure, as a coach that you look at and you say, man, that's who I want in my starting quarterback. So if he can marry that up with great play, sky's the limit.
Dan Matthews with us here from Southern Sports Today. Dan, I want to ask you about the SEC East. Obviously, Georgia is expected to rule the day there, but do you see Florida as a formidable opponent there? How close is the gap, I should say?
I think the gap is a little bit closer than Georgia fans would admit, because I do think that there is plenty of really good talent on the Gators side. I think that it comes down to two things. Number one, like I said about Haynes King with A&M, it's the same deal with Emory Jones. Now, a lot of people think this could be plug and play with what Dan Mullen wants to do, what we saw him do at Mississippi State. And now he's got that opportunity again with Emory Jones. I keep cautioning myself, and also whenever I listen to Dan Mullen, David, I keep hearing him bring up Anthony Richardson. And I don't know if that's just necessarily to keep Emory Jones hungry for the job, or if it's necessarily that competition is really that close. So, I mean, either way, I think that it's something that, you kind of parse the words a little bit of what coaches say out there. And that's one thing that he said. The key for them is going to be defense. They've got plenty of players coming back. You got Kyer Elam. You've got really good defensive line play. Brenton Cox, the Georgia transfer from a few years ago. The real wild card with them is what Todd Grantham defense do you get? Do you get the Todd Grantham defense that is poor on third down and the Todd Grantham defense that gives up way too many huge plays? Or do you get the Todd Grantham defense that can get the football back for you and can get to the quarterback? If they get the latter over the former, then it's going to be a marked improvement for them this year. But you had a lot of really good offensive talent leave last year, even with Georgia's injuries to George Pickens and the uncertainty with Eric Gilbert, and also as well with Darnell Washington. And I know defensive side of the ball, Tyke Smith was a huge transfer they got this year from West Virginia. Georgia is the class of the East. But as we've seen over the last few years, and I've been here long enough to know that there have been plenty of preseason accolades hurled at Georgia that have not been met in December and January.
Dan, I got to ask you, so whenever there's these tiers of the top coaches in college football, we see a lot of names that, look, they're really good coaches, but Dan Mullen, for instance, sometimes listed above Jimbo and others. You got Lincoln Riley as well. What is it about those coaches who really have not accomplished what Jimbo's accomplished that sometimes puts them above them and above him in the conversation, which I think is ridiculous? Jimbo's won a national championship. He's won conference titles. He's done it all. He's had 10-win seasons, 90% wins last year with 9-1 season. What is it about those guys, the Lincoln Rileys of the world, the Dan Mullins of the world? Is it because they are offensive geniuses, if you will?
Yeah, but Jimbo is too. That's
right.
The funny thing. I mean, it's kind of, I think it's Johnny-come-latelyism. Just kind of came up with that right there. I don't know if somebody else has it, so I guess maybe I'll be hit up on Twitter if not. But I think that it is that. Let's just take Oklahoma, for example, of year in and year out being in the college football playoff. And then, all of the returning players they have with Spencer Rattler and also huge transfers they got with Wanya Morris and Eric Gray from Tennessee. They're going to have a very strong team. I think that the cautionary tale with me, with Lincoln Riley, is I personally would have him behind Jimbo because of the reasons that you just mentioned right there. I think the only reason with Jimbo is the kind of restarting that he had to do at A&M with a couple of, by those other coaches' standards, lean years compared to what they did, where they were going to New Year's Six or to college football playoff games. I think that's where a lot of people on these lists are looking. But the thing is with Lincoln Riley, win a playoff game, man. Like it's finally to the point you're there. Get to the final two. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but it's kind of the same thing with Kirby Smart about winning a national title. You got to be able to get over that hill in order to get to the next side. I think that also, too, as well, you also, with Dan Mullen, the thing with me is that, it's not only the consistently beating Georgia, which he needs to do. He needs to consistently win the East again. But at Florida, winning the East is not good enough. You've got to be able to be in the national title picture and be able to be there year in and year out. And that's, I think, the next step for him as well. For the reasons I said about Jimbo, I think the first couple of years and also, too, the way that it ended at Florida State, I also think that's kind of held against him, if I'm being honest, David. I think that he got a bad rap for leaving Tallahassee the way he did, and the FSU program being in the state that it is right now. I think that probably some national writers hold that against him, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't think that was his fault. They lost him because they didn't put the assets around what he needed to build that program the way he wanted to do that. I'll say this. I sometimes wonder about Lincoln Riley. I think he's an elite coach. I do. But I'm curious, will he be a Scott Frost-tell? And I don't really think this, but I'm just bringing it up for a conversation point. When he gets to the SEC, right? Like now it's one thing to do all these amazing things in the Big 12, but when you step into the big leagues of the SEC, can you do that consistently? He has recruited great. He's great with quarterbacks. But again, when you're doing it every single week, as we've learned in the SEC, it's a different animal.
Well, I think that it's kind of with him. I almost wonder if they're really hoping with this move, kind of really what those in Austin are hoping is all boats rise with the tide. I mean, let's be honest here. The top 20 24/7 sports players last year in the state of Texas, David, 4 of them went to Alabama. 4 of them, 20% going to another school outside the state. Not LSU, not Arkansas, not even Oklahoma. They're going to Alabama. I mean, Nick Saban, you can't tell me that it wasn't purely coincidental at the very least for him to be at the Texas High School Coaches Convention in San Antonio, because he's always recruiting. He's always building that program. So I think that with Lincoln Riley, that's kind of what they're hoping for. Is they do very well in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They do pretty decently in the Houston area. They want to be able to continue that. And the move to the SEC, there's no doubt about it. It helped A&M, not only from a profile perspective, but also recruiting as well. I mean, they were able to get players coming to their program that in the years past in the Big 12, they were not getting. So now that is something that I think that Oklahoma is hoping for. And to your point, I mean, he's recruited well. He needs to recruit a little bit better, because it's been a couple of reasons that you've lost those games in the college football playoff, as it comes down to you're not able to compete up front against some of the teams that you played against Alabama, against Georgia. Well, second half against Georgia, against LSU a couple of years ago. It did not go well from them in that regard. And then also defensively. I know a lot of people are very high on Alex Grinch and that Sooner defense and what they can do. I think the key for him is going to be able to keep him around. And if he loses him, being able to replace him to at least get that capable defensive play. Because we all know in college football now, you need capable defensive play. So I think if he can answer those questions, then I think he can compete. If he starts to slip in any of those areas, then I think it could be a tough time.
All right. I don't know if you have the first week of college football, not this weekend, but the first real week, in my opinion, the following week to memory. But if you had to pick a upset, which upset are you going with? Are you doing Miami? Are you doing maybe Louisiana against Texas? Who are you going with in an upset?
Oh, you mentioned one of them that I love. I absolutely love Billy Napier going into Austin. I mean, I saw the number was at Texas giving 8. I was like, I'm taking that right now, that +8. When here's the thing with Texas as well, I don't even know who their quarterback is. I mean, maybe Steve Sarkisian does, but he hasn't told us, which I guess he doesn't really have to. And so that tells me that he's still going to go into the season with Hudson Card and Casey Thompson battling it out. And that's fine. You can do that. But Louisiana has a lot of really good players coming back, and they've got one of the rising stars in the game in Billy Napier coming back this year. And that's the thing, is it's going to be an exciting atmosphere in Austin because it's a new day. But as we've seen, I mean, changing coaches doesn't necessarily mean it's going to mean success for your program. So, I think that seeing that 8 number right there, I was like, wow, that is way too high. And I think that not only that, David, I'm sure this really hurts your listeners to hear this, but I think a possible tripping point for Texas could be even the following week going to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and taking on Sam Pittman's Arkansas Razorbacks, because that's going to be a much improved football team this year. Very well coached with Pittman being able to up the recruiting there, even from year 1 to year 2, and also as well Barry Odom and Kendall Briles and what they've been able to do. I'm excited to see what Treylon Burks looks like, and also what KJ Jefferson looks like for Arkansas this year. So 0-2 in Austin for Steve Sarkisian, that could be pretty interesting.
That would be hilarious. And in fact, earlier today, I actually picked them to lose, Texas to lose. We have this segment called Bank on it, and I was banking on Texas losing. And I don't know if it was hopeful or wishful thinking or what, but I could certainly make a case for it. Dan, we appreciate your time. I know you and I are going to meet later on today. Appreciate you joining us here on TexAgs Radio.
Anytime, buddy. Reach out, and always great to catch up with you.
Thanks, man. Dan Matthews there. Joining us here, Southern Sports there. All right, guys, right now I want to remind you to text radio to 900-900 for your chance to win the Big Friday giveaway. Thank you, Aggieland Outfitters. Look at this bad boy right here. It is the Texas A&M Adidas woven short sleeve quarter zip. I love it. It is so nice. And one of the reasons I really like it is this is what the coaches are wearing on the sidelines, guys. I don't know how many coaches, 3, 9, 25, 2, 1, whatever it is. This is what they're made for, right? And it's just arrow ready. It's kind of like I don't have the actual term here, but like windbreaker-esque top, right? Like it's short sleeve, but it's kind of like a windbreaker. Really nice, arrow-ready technology powered by moisture-wicking fabrics to absorb the water. So, when you get hot and sweaty, this is the kind of stuff you want to be wearing. Put it over your top. You can just wear it alone as the way it is. And that's the thing about this particular brand here when it comes to Adidas and really Aggieland Outfitters. You may have gotten this look last year. They've upgraded. They've gotten better. They keep getting better, and that's why you want to jump on this one. It's $69.99. The new Adidas Sideline quarter-inch zip valued $69.99 there at Aggieland Outfitters.
You're listening to The Zone. The Zone. Aggieland's all sports station.
The Bellucci Hour is back. It is back at the tap every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs, TexAgs.com, TexAgs Radio, and the Liucci Cast, along with Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, and Sports Director of Brian Broadcasting. Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m. It's the Bellucci Hour, happy hour, and it's all thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Let the Bellucci Hour get you ready for Aggie Football 2021.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Brian Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Brian Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
My name is Bobby. I'm a veteran and lost my leg to a roadside bomb. My victory was going from a wheelchair to becoming a weightlifting champion.
I'm Sam. I'm a veteran. My victory was finding a career I can be proud of and supporting my family.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
I'm a veteran. My victory was going from homeless to home.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran, and my victory was finishing my education.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support for victories great and small.
My victory was proving that disability is not a limitation.
My victory was getting my service dog a new best friend.
We help more than 1 million veterans every year as they face and conquer their challenges.
My victory is being able to be there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anias, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We got some text messages to get into here with Tomas here in a moment. But I want to read one myself, Tomas. Sorry, I'm stealing one. So Peter in Washington State, thank you so much for listening. Jimbo is supposed to rank above Riley. Jimbo's natty was 7 years ago, but above Ed O with his natty. And I would say, in my opinion here, the body of work is the reason we get the answer that we get. Jimbo's body of work, his resume is higher than Ed O's. If you want to make an argument of why you think Riley is a better coach, I would say I don't see it because, yes, as good as he's done in the Big 12, it's the Big 12, and I think I've seen Jimbo do it in the ACC, and I've seen him do it in the SEC, and now he's got to prove it again. That's the thing about college coaching. I think Jimbo is above him. I understand the argument. I certainly do. I don't understand the argument of Ed O being over him because of what he did last year, because I think the body of work, again, the history would point towards more success, better in-game tactician, just overall better resume with Jimbo Fisher. That's how I see it. The other thing I wanted to bring up is earlier Tomas told us about Herbie, and he's how did you phrase it, Tomas? Kirk Herbstreit is most looking forward to the A&M Alabama game. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. He's looking forward to seeing that happen.
Yeah, in the Herbie Awards. Yeah, great. Thanks, man. But I didn't see him say this, but I read that he expects a breakout year from Isaiah Spiller. I'm just going to ask a couple people in the room. Dalton, are you listening? Dalton, what is a breakout year to you?
Arriving on the scene.
Okay. Tomas, is that basically what you think?
Yeah, I would think the same thing, and I feel like he's already done that last year.
When you rush for 2,000 yards in your career, 1,000 last year, you scored touchdowns left and right. He scored what, 19 touchdowns in his career? That's not arriving. LJ Johnson is arriving. Maybe A-Chain arrived to the national conversation in the Orange Bowl. Spiller arrived a long time ago. Breakout year. Now, could he maybe have a 1,600-yard year that the chatter around him gets a little bit higher? I just don't see this as a breakout. Dude, the dude broke out 2 years ago. The dude broke out against Vanderbilt last year. The dude's great already. There's no breakout. He already broke out. That's the bottom line. All right. And when you scored 19 touchdowns in 2 years, I think you broke out a long time ago. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. A&B text line, let me know. BCSI hotline, let me know. Let's go to Tomas Romo with more insight from you people out there in the world.
We got another text message talking about one of their favorite SEC trips. My favorite so far has been Auburn. It's not even close. Seeing the bald eagles circle the stadium gives me chills. Reminds me a lot of A&M from Austin and Dallas.
Yeah, I can see that. Hey, I'm going to read another one because Peter in Washington, I love his insight coming in. Riley has more conference championships and trips to the college football playoffs. Body of work, going back to the Jimbo thing. Jimbo's also got the national championship. So, to me, I do think a national championship means something, and I know there's people out there that say, well, Ed O won a national championship. He's not one. I think it matters. Larry Coker at Miami. I think when you're having a debate and all things are even, the national or close to even, the national championship trumps that. I also think Jimbo came into a harder situation at A&M than Lincoln Riley came into at Oklahoma. I understand the argument. Again, the conference championships in the Big 12, I'm not that impressed by. I'm impressed that he's done it and he's maintained. Sure, I tend to look at what Jimbo's done at two different stops, and that's why. But I appreciate your insight there, Peter, in Washington State. All right, go ahead, Tomas.
I got another one from Adam, class of 01. Athens, Georgia was great. Beautiful campus, cool bars, and great live music with a small town feel.
Yeah, I've never been to Athens. I've been to Atlanta several times. I expect to go later on this year as well. I hope we all expect to go to that one. I've never been to Athens. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've heard nothing but beautiful things about that area, so I am certainly looking forward to seeing that. We got time for one more, Tomas.
I got one more here for you. It's from PJ and King Oats. It's more agreeing with OB, but he goes, I agree with Olin on Ole Miss. Absolutely loved Auburn, though.
Auburn, yeah, I'm looking forward to. To me, I'm looking forward to all of them. Not as much Baton Rouge because I've been there, but I'll go. It'll be fun. It'll be nice right after Thanksgiving to go to that. But I can't wait to one day go to Gainesville, Tuscaloosa, all of it. I'm excited about all of it. I enjoyed my time at Birmingham for the SEC Media Days. That was great. All right, guys. Tomas, give me a smile. Let me see what you look like. Look at that smile. You don't need to call Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart. Let me do it again. Do it again. I just want to embarrass you for a little bit. There. Look at that smile. I'm just kidding. But there's some of you got to fix that smile. All right, not Tomas. He's got my voice cracked there. Tomas has got a good smile, but some of you do not have a good smile. Some of you also have children that are getting some crowding in their teeth, right? It's they're coming in. My twins had to get braces done almost a year ago. It's going great, and Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart are the way to do it. Dr. Elms, class of 86 here at A&M, mainstay in our community over 30 years, 16-time Best of the Brazos winner, platinum-level Invisalign provider. We love what he does. Dr. Jeremy Stewart, class of 03. They are incredible when it comes to braces and Invisalign, and they're going to help you guys out. You can get a free consultation today. Reach out to Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart, 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300, or learn more online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Stage Center Theater wraps up its season with Pure as the Driven Snow. Performances run through this weekend. Purchase tickets online at stagecenter.net. Registration is now open for nonprofits wanting to participate in this year's Brazos Valley Gives event. Register at brazosvalleygives.org. You're invited to the inaugural I Love America Fall Festival, Saturday, September 11th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Santa's Wonderland. Visit ila-ff.org for more information. BCS Habitat for Humanity is hosting its annual Tees for Keys golf tournament Monday, September 13th at the Traditions Club. Tickets are online at habitatbcs.org. Every Monday and Friday at 11:55 on the Louis Bellina Show, don't miss the high school football update thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. What is ahead or the weekend that was for Bryan, Rudder, Consolidated, College Station High, and the Brazos Valley. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high-interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8-ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
You can hear Astros baseball on The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, plus Gospel 97.3 FM. Astros baseball on Bryan Broadcasting is brought to you by Kelly Burt Dozer. Listen in as the Astros contend for the AL West title. Listen in as the Astros battle for the best record in the American League. Listen in as the Astros contend for another World Series title. Astros baseball on The Zone and Gospel 97.3 FM is brought to you by Kelly Burt Dozer and in part by First Financial Bank.
Time to talk some bonfire. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So I was on the message boards the other day, and someone was like, dude, you got to talk to Dion McInnes. You got to talk some bonfire. It's getting close. People are starting to help out, and we are joined by Dion McInnes, who's part of the Student Bonfire Board member, Jackson Bliven, Senior Red Pot, and Jacob Lewis, all in the house. You're the head stack, correct?
No, he's head stack.
I got it confused.
Yeah.
Head stack, Red Pot.
Head civilian.
Okay, head civilian. There we go. Titles all over the place, and Dion, who's been on TexAgs for years. What's going on, guys? How are we?
Motivated.
Yeah.
Ready to start for sure. I just want to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah. So, all right, and we got the beautiful picture behind us, around us. Dion, we'll start with you. Where are we with everything? Timelines? What's going on? Where are we?
Well, I think they're going to probably have a more detailed perspective of timelines, but I know that this offseason has probably been, from a advisory perspective, one of the smoothest, most dialed in. And I have to think it's because of everything that they had to do last year, all of the order and policies and everything that they put into place that made it really, really hard to do last year. It's hard at any year, but especially hard last year. And this offseason, just checking in on their progress, it's happening fast. Great cut site. It just looks squared away to me.
All right, so help me understand the timeline if you can.
All right, so just to clarify the question, are you talking about for the season or just where we're at right now?
Where you are right now and yeah, for the season. Give me both.
All right, so where we're at right now, we have all of our equipment in check. Everything's ready to go. Cut site, we're buttoning that up, crossing our T's, dotting our I's. It's all going to be ready to go in the next couple days. Stack site, ready to bring logs in. So over the next 3 months, we're going to be clearing out our cut site, loading trucks, bringing them to stack. And then come November, that's when we're going to be building the bonfire and getting everything ready for burn.
Help me understand, and I'll come to you in a second, Dion, if you don't mind. Like when we were in school, the timing was a little different. Cut started way early, and the building kind of it's shifted with the way you guys go about the business, correct?
Well, cut actually started a couple weeks later, this, in the last couple years, they've pushed it up a couple weeks because of the COVID protocols, and just let's make sure we have as much time as possible so that if we have to lose any time due to protocols, we're still going to operate safely. But really, the work of bonfires starts on the night it burns. They're working all the time, from cleaning up burn, pulling out the poles, getting everything ready. They haven't stopped working since last November.
Gotcha. So, Jacob, let's talk about the events of last year, how difficult it was to get everything done, and now really prepare you guys for what you're going through this year.
Right. Well, it's definitely helped us with being able to have an amount of foresight for things because, last year, obviously, the COVID made everything a little bit difficult. We had to think about adding a whole lot of new procedures and whatnot and making sure that we kept all our members safe. And to be honest, it was, it seemed like business as usual for the most part with the added, obviously, mask wearing and a little bit of social distancing and whatnot and just following CDC guidelines. So this year in comparison should be a bit of I don't want to say a breeze, but it'll definitely be a little bit easier for sure.
Take me back to, was it 2003 where things started to change again and we're starting to bring it back. Take me through how that evolution, you and I spoke on the phone the other day, just how much work took into getting it back and the work you guys have done since.
So, it's almost similar to what Jacob just described. To them, I look at what they did last year and I say that was extraordinary. That was unbelievable. I can't believe y'all got through what y'all had to get through. And to him, it was a little bit harder, right? That's kind of what it was in 2003. We knew that we had to build bonfire. There was no question about it. And so we just went out and we did it. Only in hindsight could we see that it really was a monumental moment in the history of Texas A&M and in bonfire. It took a lot of people working under conditions that were unfamiliar, off campus, without infrastructure support, without lots of things that bonfire had become accustomed to, but with ultimately learning what matters the most, which is with the effort of the students. And proving that it is the students that own the tradition. It is the students who, in building it, make it authentic. And so it's taken some years, right, as people learn what bonfire is really about. It's not about where it's built. It's not about, it's moved many times. It started off campus in 1907, probably earlier than that. It's moved to different locations on campus. It's now moved off campus. It started without being associated with TU. Then it became associated with TU. 10 years ago, it wasn't about TU anymore. And all of these things changing, we see that the experience is still authentic. And when they can go out under conditions that make bonfire feel in a lot of ways different and ultimately come up with something that is fundamentally the same, it is year after year proving that what makes bonfire valid is the students. And in that sense, our experience was the same as theirs.
All right, so we'll go now to Jackson. So, Jackson, I remember being in Dunn Hall, being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's go do it. Let's go. And then people were yelling. It was a great time for my time at A&M. One of the memories I had, I always struggled waking up. How about recruiting? How do you guys go about recruiting these days, and how is recruiting going?
So just to start off, from what I've seen from the crew so far, recruiting is going amazing. I heard a day or two ago that FHK had literally 100 fish at an event. Now, the way we do recruiting is just like any other org. We set up events on campus. We do day events, night events, doesn't really matter. And you just have the chiefs and their fish buddies just on campus talking to people, welcoming them, being good Ags, and just letting the freshmen know, like, hey, we're here. If you want a friend, if you want to do something hard, you want to be a part of A&M's like oldest, greatest tradition, join us. And that's about it. If people want to do bonfire, they'll stick around. If they don't, I mean, that's fine. But at least they'll have a set of friends that they can go back to later on.
Deon, I look at myself as an example of I knew bonfire was back, but I didn't know how it was back.
Yep.
Talk to the alumni out there, the association that is listening right now and wondering, how does it work? How do I be involved? How can I be a part of this amazing process?
Well, the first step is just come out and watch. I have never, ever encountered anybody in all my years who has come out and not said, this is the same. We're talking across generations, people building it 50, 60 years ago. Their fire looked different than the fire that was built in 96, 99. And always it felt the same. I mean, John Comstock came out and I asked him what he thought. He said, I'm home, right? People who this has touched in the most profound ways, just come out and look. And you'll see that these students are living your experience and they're doing honor and justice to it. And they're making it something beautiful that belongs to them that they in turn give to you. Just come out and look. We can explain in great detail all the effort that they still go through, cutting the logs with axes and carrying them on their backs and throwing them on the trucks and stacking them. But you can't believe the intensity and the authenticity that still exists until you see it for yourself. And then once you do, you will be motivated and you'll know this is bonfire. And from that point, Bonfire, of course, has always relied on the generosity of former students. So studentbonfire.com, email info@studentbonfire.com. We have all kinds of people from time, talent, money, Sevcheks, personally, directly responsible for getting our beat-up trucks back to working again. Everybody's got something that helps get Bonfire built. And in whatever way, even if you think it's small, I guarantee it's going to mean the world to these Aggies. So reach out and we can make something happen.
Jacob, I grew up in a world where Bonfire was all about Texas. It's, as Deon said earlier, it's had different incarnations. Now that Texas looks like they're back in the fold, what does that mean to you for somebody who didn't grow up with that rivalry, or at least in college during the rivalry?
Well, obviously I'm looking at it through a bit smaller of a lens than like you or Deon. But to me, since I came into Bonfire when we weren't really associated with Texas for, the last several years, for the most part, I think it's going to be business as usual. But obviously, I think the membership is going to be pretty hyped to have the orange outhouse back at the top.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I want all of you to kind of chime in on this. You told me the other day on the phone that, Bonfire is a part of your life. It's really in the middle of everything you do. So how has Bonfire changed or, helped you grow as a person?
I say, for me, it gave me a community when I first came to college. I didn't graduate in Texas. I actually came basically from out of state. I don't know a lot of people coming in. And then as soon as I got here, first people I meet are Bonfire. And then that's who I've stuck with ever since. I think it's taught me a lot in just leadership, because I've been in Bonfire for this is going to be my 4th year now. I've been a yellow pot. I've been a junior red pot. I'm going to be a senior red pot this year. And I've done leadership all my life, and this is probably the truest and hardest form I've done so far. and I think it's going to carry me a long way through my life as I keep going. But I think nothing but positivity and good things have come from Bonfire.
Jacob?
Pretty much the same thing. I would have to agree with Jackson in that I've been in, several leadership roles up until this point, and this one is definitely the most challenging because I have a direct impact over a much larger amount of people, and just thinking about that on a day-to-day basis and thinking about, okay, what are some problems that I would need to anticipate coming this fall, and how can I start solving them now is, it's definitely a pretty humbling experience for the most part.
Dion, I know that you're still involved all these years later. So how has it affected you?
Honestly, I've never taken the time to really just kind of reflect on what has Bonfire done and made in you, because I spend so much time observing them. And I can't describe the feeling of watching them experience things, see that in their eyes when they've hit a point in themselves that they didn't know existed, and then they know they got to go further than that. It's palpable, these moments that they're breaking through, and they're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about themselves and what's happening to them. They're thinking about what they're doing for other people. And so they're going to miss these moments, and it's only in hindsight. And so getting to watch as these people have these moments and then go on to become extraordinary leaders, members of their community, visionaries, change agents, it's a beautiful thing. And to see the former students come back and voice the same things through experiences in their life, professional and adult lives, that you would think were incredibly challenging. They're all able to say it was easy because I built Bonfire.
Remind us, how can people listening right now help right now?
Right now, visit studentbonfire.com, email info@studentbonfire.com. Bonfire is always looking for support by way of especially money. It costs money to build Bonfire. Bonfire's revenue, the single largest piece of Bonfire's revenue to support building another one, comes from burn. Well, this last year's burn, we couldn't have attendance because of COVID protocols. So the students have been having to work double time, getting cut site ready and going out and fundraising. Right? They're going to be playing catch up for a little bit. You can donate to Student Bonfire and help make it easier for them to focus on the task at hand right now and on bonfires into the future. And really, again, I can't overstate enough the importance of coming out, looking at it, meeting these young people, getting to know their experiences, realizing it's the same as yours, and then go out and at your tailgate, at the football game, everywhere you go, tell people how motivated you were to have met the modern day bonfire building Aggie.
Appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming in. We'll do it again.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks,
absolutely.
David.
Thank you, guys. Gig 'em.
Build the hell.
When we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers, time for a little Around Aggieland. We'll get that and more here on TexAgs.
You're listening to Aggieland's Home for Sports. The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
We think it's time for a laugh. Bryan Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station, Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Longway Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at bryanbroadcasting.com.
Hey, it's David Nuño. Texas known for football, barbecue, and hot summer temperatures. And typically, the hotter the weather, the higher your electricity bill. But with some help from Energy Ogre, a Texas technology company, you can lower your bill by up to 40%. In fact, we signed up 2 years ago, and they saved my family 35%. Energy Ogre will find you the cheapest electricity plan in your area. Manage all future contracts, saving you time and money.
Go to EnergyOgre.com and enter code HOWDY for a free month of service. That's EnergyOgre.com to start saving today.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swartman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings 5 to 8 on 1150 a.m. and 93.7 FM.